if you are able to release these emotions, specifically these bad emotions that I'm going to go over here, you will undoubtedly unlock 100K months and beyond. Okay, this is MRR, just so you know. Okay, so how exactly can you get there? How did I get there? How did I build a multi-million-dollar business with over 35 employees, where I was traveling around the world for really the last 5 years with my wife and my two kids, and still have the time to only work about 3 hours a day, about 4 times a week while doing this? Okay, it was all about emotions. Okay, for anyone that tells you emotions are for women, you're wrong, because as entrepreneurs, we're very emotional people. So what is this all about? Before we get into how you can use emotions to unlock massive revenue, what I want to go over is what emotions actually are in the first place. Okay, so what is emotions? I want you to think of emotions as energy in motion. Okay, energy in motion. And it's there because it wants to leave. That's the simple premise of emotion. So let's get into the nitty gritty of which emotions exist for us. Okay, the first one is the most basic, and the reason I've made this the smallest is because when we're at this scale, at this level, it gives us the least energy to be able to show up for our business, to show up for our employees, to show up for our clients, to show up on sales calls, and that is apathy. Okay, this is a feeling of absolute depression, right? You're feeling down, clouds over your head, and you just have very little energy for life. Think about the times where you just want to get out of bed, okay? Or maybe someone was saying something to you, an employee, a client, and you just could not care less. That's apathy. This is absolutely where you do not want to be, okay? The next one over is grief. This is when you feel sad. This is when you feel like, man, things aren't going my way. This sucks. You know, I'm very unhappy right now. You may even cry, right? Even though you're a macho man that doesn't feel anything, maybe you feel like crying. And there may even be times where, maybe a family member passed away and you grieved and you cried, okay? The next one on the list over here would be, can you guess, what is this? I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. This over here, man, is fear. Okay, this is when you're afraid. This is when you're afraid that that client is going to leave. This is when you're afraid that an employee is going to leave, and you haven't SOP'd and documented the entire process of what they do in the business. And this is when you're afraid that something bad's going to happen, some impending, some looming problem. That, again, right, as you get into these energy levels, the lowest of the low being apathy, grief has a little bit more energy, fear has a little bit more energy, still not a ton of energy. Okay, what is this over here? What is this guy doing? This is lust. This is wanting energy. A lot of people associate lust with just sexual desire and wanting, a woman, or wanting to have sex or something. That's not it. Lust is really a feeling of wanting the Lamborghini, wanting the nice Rolex watch, wanting that sexy woman, sure, wanting even many kids. As men, we want lots of progeny. It could be wanting more monthly recurring revenue, okay? But really, this is a wanting feeling. Again, not that much energy available as much as then anger. Okay, this is the frustration, fury, annoyance, agitation. This is all included in the emotion of anger. Okay, and what anger really is this is when things start getting interesting. This is when more energy is moving. Imagine someone who is angry versus someone who is apathetic, right? Who are you going to be more, I wouldn't even say intimidated by? Who would you be more likely to listen? Someone that's speaking with anger, or someone that's speaking like depressed? You could say to someone like, hey, go over there, in an angry tone, and then if someone else comes to you and you say, hey, go over there, in sort of a fearful, scared tone, you're more authoritative when you're angry. And I'm not saying anger is necessarily the best place to be, but it's better than being in some of the previous states. And then this one over here, this is pride. Okay. And pride is very insidious because this is the emotion that stops us from seeing our own crap. And this is the one that I want to focus on primarily because many entrepreneurs, frankly, they are in a state of pride. I know I was there. I remember feeling like when I was in university, I started my first business and I was flown out to a stadium with 20,000 people in it. And I had a 20-minute speaking engagement and I got paid $5,000 for it. I thought I was the shit. I thought no one could touch me. And here my peers were in university working two part-time or full-time jobs to pay their student loans or whatever. I was on my high horse. And it's the same energy that carried through in my business. It made me take out, in some cases, massive loans and really take a lot of risk and oftentimes lose a lot of money. Sure, I made a lot of money, but it was just me thinking that I really knew everything and that no one could say anything to me. Like my mom couldn't say anything. My dad couldn't say anything. I was making more money than him. My wife couldn't say anything. She doesn't know me. I'm an entrepreneur. You just don't get me. And then especially my brothers who, they work regular jobs. Again, not to knock on regular jobs, but what I'm trying to say is that pride is a very interesting thing. It's almost like entrepreneurship attracts the most prideful people because we want to instinctively be able to show others that, hey, you can't touch me. You don't have anything on me. And it's sad because when we're in pride, we lose opportunity. We lose the ability to take in feedback. We lose the opportunity to speak to others with a degree of respect and love that will help them grow and flourish, like our employees. And ultimately, I think pride is a big killer of a lot of businesses, right? It's like Icarus, the fictional, the fable about how there was this dad who was being exiled from an island, and so was his son. I'm just gonna make myself bigger over here. There was a dad who was being exiled from an island with his son, and well, actually, they weren't even being exiled. They were going to be killed. And the dad said to the son, hey, look, I'm a wax maker. I'm going to make wax wings for us and we're going to fly. But here's the thing. We don't want to fly too close to the sun because we're going to get burnt. If we fly too close to the ocean from this island, we're going to drown. And so what I need from you is to promise me, Icarus, that you're not going to fly too close to the sun. And Icarus was very narcissistic, was very prideful. And when he began flying, he started really feeling himself, and then he was flying closer and closer and closer towards the sun, and eventually the wings made of wax, they started melting, and he plummeted to his death by drowning in the ocean. So the method and the really the lesson over here that I took from that is that, as entrepreneurs, we need to humble ourselves. And really, there's many lessons to be learned over here on how lust, we should maybe not want as many things. Like we know these things very intuitively, like mentally, but how do you embody this to hit this 100K? So what I want to talk about is something called releasing, okay? And I'll get into what releasing actually means, right? It's in the title of this video, how you can release these bad emotions. But before we again get into that, we want to understand what we're releasing into. What we are releasing into is higher states, okay? The highest state that we want to be in over here, for example, is, I'm just going to make this a little bit thicker. Give me one sec over here. So the highest states that we want to be in, the first one is courage, okay? It's like the opposite of the dog, courage, the cowardly dog. But, in courage, man, this is a place where you can do it. Like maybe you've hit a personal record in the gym. Maybe you closed the deal, like you went for the close. Maybe you did something that took courage, like even starting a business, man, that's a big act of courage. Or maybe you never felt like you had a choice, but still taking that leap to take care of your family, to take care of your kids, that takes a lot of courage. And if you're someone that did that, then I admire you for that. The next one is not love, but something deeper than love, and that's acceptance. Okay, a lot of people think that true love is this like romantic notion of just being head over heels, and then also the whole like all you need is love, 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 and it's almost like this weird concept, not acceptance, but of love that oh you overlook everything. No, but like acceptance is seeing something for what it is and accepting what it is and accepting what it isn't. It's really being able to look at something and come to terms and be okay with what it is and what it isn't. That's acceptance. And I know you felt that before, right? Maybe you have a child and the child just did, poos in his diaper. And I remember when my son did that, the first days of him being born, and I thought to myself, man, he's just a kid, and I love him. I accept him. I accept the fact that he's a child and that he's going to do this. But it's interesting how in business, when we don't actually have acceptance towards maybe our employees, and they maybe look a certain type of way, or they sound a certain type of way, or they speak a certain type of way, or they do certain things that really piss us off, and we just take it as like, this person needs to change. And we have this belief that they need to actually change in order for us to like them more. But that's a lack of acceptance. That's pride, right? That's pride. And so we'll get more into this a little bit in a sec. But really, the highest of all, this is really when we're ultimately, many sages would say, is that we're able to find oneness with God and let go of all of our worldly desires. That is peace. Okay? So why am I talking about all this? There was a time in my business many years ago, right after I got married, and my wife was working full time and she was the breadwinner, and I was telling her, hey, I'm going to start this business and I'm going to make a lot of money and we're going to travel around the world. Before we had done anything, before we had any kids, I was broke, living in my parents' home, and I was grinding. I was pushing so hard. I was pushing really hard, and I was stuck. I was stuck mainly not in a traditional sense of not closing any deals or not getting any clients. I was really just afraid. I was afraid of what my parents would think if I didn't start this business and make it succeed. I was afraid of what my wife would think. I was definitely in a place of lust. I was looking at all the guys online with their, Stripe screenshots and them talking about all these big numbers and all these great things that they're doing. And here I was living in my parents' home as like a 23-year-old. I was just really hard on myself, right? And I'll get angry at times too, but really I was stuck in these low-level emotions. And I was also too prideful to want to actually take a job, which in hindsight maybe even wasn't the best thing, because it was really creating a lot of rift in my relationship, because my wife was the breadwinner and I was very fearful of how we were spending her money. So she felt really controlled, and this just wasn't a good situation. So what I'm trying to say over here, and if by any chance you're on this video and you aren't making some money online, what I would say to you is, I was just doing some thumbnails over there for my YouTube channel, but what I would say to you is that this still applies to you. Because what I did at that time is I started learning how to release. And releasing is really acknowledgement, okay? How you release emotions is by acknowledging it. I want you to think of clouds, okay? I want you to think of clouds in the sky, okay? And imagine it's a really overcast day. Like there's a lot of clouds. And imagine the sky is over here. But it's so cloudy, so cloudy that you over here, you're like a Chinese guy over here. for all the blacks and the whites watching this, I'm sorry. But anyways, so you're looking over here and you're thinking, man, it's so cloudy. Now tell me this, would you ever look up at these clouds and say to yourself, oh, the sky is gray. Oh, the sky is gray. No, the clouds are gray. And you'd also never say, oh, the clouds are always going to be there. They're never going to leave. No, you know that with time, whether it's a day, a week, heck, even a season, these clouds will subside. They will leave. These clouds, my friend, are emotions. They will leave at some stage, just like what you're feeling up top over here. Apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride. These emotions will leave if you allow yourself to feel them. And that's the issue. As entrepreneurs, as men, as providers, we hold on to emotions, which sounds ludicrous because a lot of guys, they think they don't have emotions. They're not emotional people. You've just bottled that shit down so hard, bro, that you don't allow yourself to feel it. And guess what? When you don't allow yourself to feel emotions, you are suppressing it. And then guess what? You become like a pressure cooker. You know what a pressure cooker is? It's something that was used as a bomb in the Boston Marathon because a pressure cooker, it really has a lot of steam inside it. Okay, and then when the top comes off, guess what? You go to the other end, which is expression. Okay? This is where you basically blow up. Have you ever seen road rage videos where someone gets cut off on the streets and then they hop out their car and then proceed to freaking bash down on the car that cut them off with a baseball bat? Okay? And then there's another category which is basically called escape. Okay? This is where you do drugs, alcohol. I'd say even music in many ways is an escape for a lot of entrepreneurs. They just plug into that. Work as an escape. They escape from their problems, so they don't remember this anymore. But really the clouds are still there. And guess what? You're holding on to these clouds. You are holding on and you are saying to yourself, no, this is so real. I'm just in this state of fear. And I gotta do something about it. This is a sign that I've gotta, do more outreach, and I've got to close more deals, and I've got to charge my clients more. And you start making these stupid decisions. You start hiring stupid people, and you start holding on to stupid clients. And it pisses me off right now as I even say this, because I'm not pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at myself. I'm pissed off at myself for having done this for so many years. So I want to teach you how to release this. I want to teach you how to let this go. Because if I knew this sooner, I would have hit my 100K months a lot sooner. Heck, after doing this, I was able to hit past 200K months. So remember, what we're trying to do over here is we're trying to release apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, and pride, for short, AGFLAP. And we're trying to hit courageousness, acceptance, and peace, short, CAP. Okay? We want to leave AGFLAP and hit CAP. CAP backwards is Pac. Pac-Man eats AGFLAP. Okay? Be like Pac-Man. So how do you hit courageousness? A very simple way, a 2-method process that I can give you is, first, what you want to do is acknowledge. Yes, I'm feeling angry. Yes, I'm feeling scared. Can I allow myself to just, in this moment right now, be scared? Nothing bad's going to happen. Can I just allow myself for 1%, just allow myself to feel 1% of that fear? Can I acknowledge that it's there? Just say yes to it. Yes. And if you need to say yes to the fear, just say, fear, yes, I'm feeling fearful. I'm feeling fearful. Yes, yes. And then you'll get to a stage where then you'll be able to remember, use your memories. I was trying to draw like a brain over here. I hope this looks like a brain to you. I think it looks like a brain. Use your memories. Close your eyes and remember a time where you were courageous. Right? A moment of that for me was when I did that speaking engagement in a stadium. Another moment of courageousness was me telling my parents that I wanted to marry my wife, who, they saw was like not Pakistani, not from our culture, completely different background. And they were, I knew they'd be angry, and they were angry. And I stood up for what I wanted for over a year before I actually got married. So there's many moments in your life guaranteed that you were courageous. If you can just sit down and actually really just remember that, feel that, that's a hack. That's an easy way to get into courageousness. And if you want to move into acceptance, what you do is you allow yourself to just ask yourself a question. Can I accept the situation I'm in? And you're going to face a ton of resistance when you ask yourself this. Can I accept the situation I'm in? And if you want to say no, just say it. Say, no, I can't. That's fine too. But just keep asking yourself and acknowledging, hey, can I accept this situation right now? And the next thing after that is you're going to ask yourself, okay, when is the time that I was really accepting? I gave you the baby's diaper example, but there's many times in which, like, maybe you've even looked at a flower. You could even look around in the room right now. Look at your computer. Look at your bottle. Look outside the window. Like, I see a tree that's green. It's on the top of this apartment that I'm in, or a different apartment that I'm looking at. And I can accept the fact that it's green. I can accept the fact that it's got branches. I can accept the fact that it's beautiful. And I can accept the fact that I'm witnessing it right now. That is acceptance. I don't want to change it. I see that God's created it as it is. So now that I can accept that tree, I can move that over to my business. I can move that over to my clients. I can move that over to my employees and say, hey, can I just accept them as they are right now? It doesn't mean you're okay with it, right? It doesn't mean that you are okay with what's happening per se, but it means that in this moment right now, can I just acknowledge that this situation just is what it is and not have to freak out over it? Right? That's what acceptance really is in a business context. And then peace is really being able to ask yourself, can I just let go whatever it is that I'm feeling? Can I let go of even wanting to accept this or even thinking about this, right? It's almost like a very meditative question that, a lot of people that are in yoga, people that pray daily prayers, people that do a serenity prayer, people that, meditate. These are all different ways to skin the same cat. It's ultimately like, can I surrender? Can I surrender my desire to want to get to where I want to get to? And this almost sounds so counterintuitive, but this is where magic starts happening. This is where we started closing like 20K a month added to our monthly recurring revenue. We went from like 20 to 30 to 50 to 60 in the pandemic, man. It was because we had to surrender. We had to let go. And I would practice this every morning when I was on the treadmill in the gym, and you can do this too. And I want you to tell me about, a time that you were fearful, or maybe you were in grief and you were able to release that, and how it impacted you and how it just changed the game for you. Okay. If this was helpful, let me know. And I never know how to end these, man. I just appreciate you for watching this. And if you want to connect more and be a part of our free community for entrepreneurs, then just check out the first comment or the description somewhere over there. And yeah, appreciate you. You can also chat with me one-on-one if you think there's some way that I can, help you out with something. But do this and you will be able to hit those 100K months. I've done it before, and I know you can do it as well. All right. Peace out.